Hey everybody, welcome to the Women Unfiltered series, Spicy Saturday. I'm your host, Tabitha.
I'm your co-host, Lauren. We are on the roller coaster of womanhood, all unfiltered.
From our overrated ovaries to, yes, dating peaks and disasters.
No topic is off limits. Join us on the first Saturday of every month for our candid combos.
Unfiltered advice and plenty of laughs as we navigate the good, the bad, and the downright chaotic moments that make up our lives as women.
Get ready to embrace your inner spice and enjoy the ride.
Hey everybody, welcome in Spicy Saturday. Happy February. I feel like when we say it is the month of February, what do we always think of? Valentine's Day. And then when I get that feeling, I'm like, ugh, I don't know about you. Do you forget the same feeling? I just get the it on Valentine's Day.
I feel so many feelings. I feel like it's definitely like just a way for companies to make money. Like it's a money holiday where you should celebrate love year round. But that's just my opinion.
I think this Spicy Saturday, we're getting really spicy because we're going to talk about love, obviously, because of Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about dating apps. We're also going to talk about feminine energy. And I think that's super important. So we're going to talk about love. Okay. And we're diving into this because I want to ask you, do you believe in love at first sight? Do you think it's a thing?
Ooh. No. Unfortunately, I do not. I'm a slow burner. Like I believe that you can feel a connection. Like there's no denying chemistry. Like I believe in chemistry at first experience, but I don't believe in love at first sight. What about you?
I'd say no, but I have been in that, like, I guess, experience one time only in my entire life. And it was like I knew this person forever, fell in love with them. It was weird, kind of like the way that I met them. And we were together for quite a long period of time. But it was like this overwhelming, like, they always talk about like twin flames and how like there's always somebody. And I always thought that was like crap. I've only had that feeling one time. I've never had a relationship or a connection like that ever again. So it makes me wonder of like, did it really exist? And I will never feel that again.
Oh, I do feel twin flames exist. I've experienced that. And it's a different kind of love that you'll never, I don't know if I'll ever experience again as well. That is something that showed me because I wondered, I was like, can I really like find love? Does love really exist? Like, can it be, two people feeling the same? And absolutely, like that was a good example for me that it exists. Unfortunately, twin flames, as you know, tend to go up in flames when they end, unfortunately. The connection's way too passionate.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I asked the question about like love at first sight because I feel like there's this divide on social media. People talk about it and then it kind of goes in line with the whole twin flame thing. But I feel like for those that have experienced that type of love, if you want to call it, or lust at first sight connection, I don't feel that can ever happen more than once.
Oh,
me personally, I just don't think that that's a thing. So when I see these posts of people saying like, do you believe in love at first sight? Yes, but it's because they've had that experience before. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like wanting interaction from you guys in the comment section, especially on YouTube. Put it, give us feedback. If you've had love at first sight, do you feel that you've ever had love at first sight multiple times with multiple people? Because I don't think that's true. I don't think that exists out there.
I do think you can experience different types of love. I do think like in some past relationships, they might not have been my twin flame or my soulmate, but I did love them in a different way. My ex-fiance, I loved him as a best friend. And then my last ex, who sadly was evil, I loved that man too, unfortunately, but it was different. I feel like you can have different types of love, but to have the first like love at first glance, like I don't think you get that with everybody. No, I can agree on that part, but you can have different types of love. Yes, I think. So please tell me people if you agree.
I know. I want feedback, guys. Like, I know we always talk about this, like, give us feedback, but like, come on, come in hot with this because like, I love seeing the comments. I love seeing you guys interact with us on social media, on Instagram for both of our sites, because if you're following me and you're not following Lauren, first off, a shame on you to tisk, but like interact with everybody, interact with both of us. This is why we do this podcast, because we are so alike in so many ways. We are so different in like what our outlooks are. And that's why I wanted to do February for love, because we're so alike, but so different. So this is interesting too for feedback. I want to hear all the ladies and the men. Like, this is an episode for everybody. It's Spicy Saturday. It's for everybody. Do you believe that there is a difference between being in love with somebody and loving somebody?
I think I do. I think that when you're in love with somebody, you feel something so deep inside yourself, like you can't even control it. Like you love that person almost beyond your control. But again, people, this is my opinion, so please tell me if you think differently. But like, I feel like when you're in love with somebody, like they affect you so much more than, say, somebody you have love for. You know, like I have love for my friends, but if there was a man that I'm in love with, like, oh, that can hurt on a whole different level. And that can also feel beautiful on a whole different level. So that's what I think on that.
I'm so opposite. Man, this is why I like doing this. I'm opposite.
This is great.
For me, when I'm in love with someone, I love them. I feel like my in love with them is like my like amp up of like, oh, I hit that level. Like I get to know somebody. I've gone really fast in relationships where like I think I am in love with this person. And because I'm in love with them, I love them. But the same goes for my friendships. Like I'm in love with a bond. I'm in love with a connection with someone that like I can tell them anything. And so I have a deep love for them. But that's where this question comes, because once I fall out of love, that whole bubble for me is gone. Like the in love with somebody and that bond and connection, and then this like deep rooted actual, when we say I love you, for me, like everything's grouped for me. I don't know why.
That is an interesting take. And I do feel the same though when you say when you fall out of love, like it's done. Cause yeah, I'm one of those people, like once it's done for me. Like I'll never forget the love. I'll never forget what we went through and like the feelings, but I won't want to like jump back with that person. I'm not usually that kind of gal. Like, and I've made that mistake, and I kind of like now realize, oh, this is why I've always had that stance on like, don't keep going back to that person. I learned my lesson. I was like, yep, I should have followed my own advice that I give to my friends many, many years. If it didn't work the first time, it's probably not going to work the second time. Now, mind you, people in the comments, like I'm sure some of you have had experiences where it has worked, and bless you, you are very lucky, but it's usually like a 50-50 chance in my opinion.
Do you feel like going down that rabbit hole real quick? Do you feel that sometimes it works? Do you feel that it works because we have to give up either A, our expectations, or B, we have to give up on ourselves to make it work?
Ooh, well, I'm going to answer this weird. I do believe that when you're in relationships and you hit hardships, that there always is going to come like compromise and sacrifice. You're never going to have a long relationship without occasionally having to sacrifice something for yourself, or they will have to sacrifice something for themselves. You have to be ever evolving, ever changing. And yes, some people will be like, you're single, what do you have to say? I'm like, every relationship I've had though, for the most part, like has worked for a good amount of time. The only reason why it didn't work is because either I or that other person was not willing to change and to evolve and to compromise. Sadly,
for those
a
that
lot
are
of
listening and you're single right now, take this moment. I'm going to give you like a 5-second silent pause. Because when people say you're single, say I'm evolving. Eat that. I'm evolving. That's what we're going to say in February. If you're listening to this episode and you're single, guess what? It's okay. You're evolving. February 14th, you're evolving. You do whatever you need to do. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty.
And celebrate you. And a lot of times, too, people are single by choice. Like, it's not because we can't go out and find somebody, but a lot of times you don't want to just settle for something that you don't think is going to work. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being single during Valentine's. Honestly, I think it's better because Valentine's Day, as we talked about in the beginning, I feel like it's such a monetary thing. Where like you feel obligated to be like, oh, I got to be romantic, buy that lingerie, or as a guy, I got to take her out to a nice restaurant. You know, like, come on, guys. If you guys are in the comments, I'm sure you're like, yes, exactly. Like they feel like they got to shell
on
all the money, and I'm like, do that at a random time. You'll actually surprise your woman even more. They'll appreciate it more, not just the holiday. But that's me.
Yeah. So we're moving from love and in love to sex. I just want to dive into it because we're going there. We're going there. Women, I feel that there's this big shift in movement, right? Because it used to be women are emotional and men act on like the physical level. I don't feel that anymore with this like new like uprising of women. Because let me tell y'all, there's some of you out there that you are savage as fuck. That's just the exact way, excuse my language, I'm going to say it. You are savage because there's women out there that you all are acting like men. But there's men out there that are acting like women. So I think there's like this crazy shift. So for you to have that, like, we're talking deep diving, in love, rooted. Do you feel that sex comes into play because it bonds you more to that person? Or do you feel like sex is just like an added bonus in your bond?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow. I feel like, and again, people, this is just my opinion and my experiences. I feel like sex is an added bonus. And believe it or not, I'm actually a very hypersexual person when I'm in a relationship. However, I can go without it for a certain amount of time. But I feel like when you do have the sex, though, like when you do have the sex, sounds so weird, but when you do end up having sex, it does deepen the bond for sure. But I feel like at first it's like an added bonus. But then I've also had the times where like I've had sex and I'm like, I do not feel closer to this person. That was not great. So that's why I feel like conflicted on that one, because I'm like, that is a great question. But it's like, I think it really depends on the connection. Because, yeah, you can have sex with somebody and it's just sex. Or you can have sex and it deepens the bond and it makes you feel closer. But in the end, you know, it is a bonus. Like longevity, I feel like, you know, to have a long relationship, it should be just a bonus. Because at the end of the day, looks are going to come and go. You know, stress is going to happen. Sex might even kind of lapse for a moment. And you got to really have that like core connection. And also I've noticed, like, you tell me, but when I'm closer to somebody intellectually, I have better sex with them. Like whether they have a big peen or not. And, you know, have talked about in the past, I like bigger peens, but like, I mean, I'm not going to deny that one. But I think that when there's an intellectual, you know, depth, like I don't know, I have better sex. So I just answer that in so many different realms. But
it's because like maybe this is my last year in my 30s. I'm like totally dating myself, which by the way, please make sure you check on me September 7th of 2025. I'm going to have a crisis because I'm turning 40. Holy hell. But in my 20s, I had this, I don't know, maybe I was just messed up mentally. I don't know. It's all about admittance, right? In my 20s, I looked at sex as that was the way that I started to really form a connection. So I think I really used it like not in the right way. But I also think it's because I used to look at sex of like, I did it because I was there for my partner. And now looking at my 30s, I'm like, bitch, I am not the Hunger Games for you. Like, oh my God. But now I've learned through, I don't know, this like self-healing era, or maybe I'm just like, I don't really care about anybody but myself, which ladies, it's okay to be selfish. Please be selfish. I can be on that like borderline of like falling in love with somebody and have sex and it will make my bond just done. And I'm like starting to like really see in past relationships that me having sex with somebody, it does nothing to like gravitate my bond to you. It doesn't even do anything. It's like this mental test for me that makes me know if that's my person or I'm literally on the opposite side of like, this isn't it. And I don't know why that is, but like some of my girlfriends have been like that too, that they're like, it's not pleasurable for me anymore. It's almost like this like mental decision that we're making as women now of like, it's like breaking the bond or it's like propelling your bond forward. And a lot of women are saying this, which is kind of creeps me out.
you bring up a very valid point, because I was speaking like from where I am now, but in my 20s, I was the same, where I was having sex for the men. I was doing everything to make them satisfied. And now I think, you know, as we become women, as we age, we have sex more for ourselves. And so I think that shifts that mindset, and probably why a lot of women are feeling that way. Because, yeah, in our 20s, we're like, you know, we're doing it mostly for them. And this has actually been discussed. I've seen this in articles where it's like, yeah, women are shifting now to prioritize sex for themselves and to actually truly enjoy it, and not just doing it for the man, of where it's like, oh, yeah, I'll have that threesome, or yeah, like I'll try that different position, or I'll have sex whenever you want it, you know, kind of thing. And I think at that time, like, we felt like we were hypersexual and we felt like that's what we needed to do to have a better connection with a man. And now we're realizing like, no, it really wasn't working that way,
Mhm.
you know? And now, yeah, like I can have sex with somebody now and I'm kind of like, well, sometimes it changes things, sometimes it doesn't. I think it depends if you have an orgasm. So guys, if you
There
give
it
a
is.
woman an orgasm, there is a chemical reaction. This is a known fact that will happen to women. Unfortunately, men, when they orgasm, they get more of a clear head. Women, we actually get this drug-like feeling. But orgasm is not as hard to get by nowadays as we get older. There's that.
Yeah, that's true. It brings me to, I mean, I think we're now in like this awesome part in life where like showing women's sexuality is like liberating. Because I think in my 20s, I'd always be like, I don't know if this is too risque. Like, I want to go out to the club with my girlfriends and I want to like wear just whatever I want to and barely look like I have clothes on. And now I'm like, we're like dialing back where there's like this ebb and flow of like sexiness, but in like this classy type of way. That's also showing in like fashion and makeup and all the things, right? Like, we want more natural. We want girls next door. We want that, like, I have to have this person. But I think that's for the men's side of like showing like this like different desire and like part of the hunt and part of the chase. But I think it's this weird side of women, which brings me into the dating apps, is because when we're scrolling and we're looking at what's out there, oh no, for me, like, men are not masculine anymore. It's so weird. Like I just want some, like, I mean, look at, some of my girlfriends are like, oh, what do you think of this person? They'll send me stuff. And I'm like, I just want some cowboy freaking chap ass men to like whisk my girls off their feet. Men are not physically men anymore. They don't look like men. And I think that's why a lot of these relationships are just tanking, because guys, like, we're reading spicy, like, books. I'm reading one right now. I swear to God. One of my girlfriends like, what do you think? And I'm like, I feel like I'm reading a porn, but it's like a book. But so like we're creating things in our minds, right, of what we want men to look like. I think men, I'm sorry, you guys can come for me. Men, you don't look like men anymore. You don't.
Ooh. Speaking of spicy books, I'm reading one too. It's called A Soul to Keep. And like, I'm like, whoa, buddy, if that accidentally played through a drive-through, like I would be. But yeah, man, we're listening to these naughty books now, which I never would have thought I would, because I'm totally fine with watching porn. But like, it gives that fantasy back though, because porn, no offense, is not as like fantasy anymore as it used to be in the early 2000s. But I have something that's also gonna like piss off men. But I wrote on my little notes here how I felt about dating apps right now, and I said, sometimes I have to ask, have all the good-looking men moved out of LA, or are they just all taken? And I say that, and it's going to piss off some guys if you're listening from LA, but I'm sorry. Like, I know I don't know if I'm a 10, but I'm definitely a 7 or above, And
I love you.
looking,
I love you.
and I'm just kind of like, I get these dudes where I'm like, all right, I'm not exactly always looking for money, which I'll go into that. I have a question on that, how you feel about that. But like, some of them, I'm like, really, dude? No. Like, why are you trying to match with me? It's not going to happen. Or they're clearly not reading my profile, like where I'm like, you have to be open-minded to this. You can't smoke. And like, I'm getting guys that are like lit cigarette in their profile. And I'm like, maybe read the room. But seriously though, like I feel you when you say like no more masculine men. No offense, men, but like I even had a guy friend who is married. I pulled up, I don't want to say the dating app because I don't want them to get mad at me, but I pulled up this dating app, the one dating app that I have on my phone, and I scrolled through a few different dudes with him, and even he was like, oh dear God. So just saying, man, like if a married man is even looking through the dating apps and was worried for me, that's not good.
That's your selection. It's sad.
Yeah, he was like, this is not good. No wonder you're and it was not like in a mean way to me at all. He was like, wow, that's what you have to choose from. And sorry, man, but like, again, I don't think I'm the hottest shit ever, but I'm definitely some form of hot shit, okay? So
you're hot shit. You say that in the mirror every day. I'm hot shit. Anybody listening,
hot shit.
Tell yourself every day, I am hot shit. I'm hot shit.
Hot shit. I mean, I'm definitely a catch, you know? I know I'm a catch. And so I'm just like, and him and I were also talking about like height and money, because he was like, well, what? He's like, I hear some girls talking about like height and how important that is to them. And we got on that kind of thing and money. And for me, I would love to know your take on this, but like at the end of the day, like I'm not looking for a millionaire. That'd be fucking great. No offense, man, but I'd be like, that'd be fucking great, because I've always kind of wanted to be open to having kids. And living and staying in LA, in order to have a house and put kids through a good school, you kind of have to make money. And I make a certain amount, and I just want somebody to be my equal. So that's just saying. I'm not a millionaire, by the way. Not even close. But if you're talking about areas, like I get a lot of men, like, and a guy friend specifically that gets mad of like, women are looking for men with money. Well, we just probably want somebody to be, you know, our equal. Like if you make the same, if not more, because a lot of women, we're still not getting paid the same as men. So we don't really want to be put in a situation where we're having to take care of you and kids. If you have kids, that's if kids come to play. So that's speaking on that vein. Height. I don't really give a shit about height personally, but I definitely don't want to be towering over you per se if I'm wearing heels. But, you know, that's just my opinion on that.
I'm
But,
picky.
no, and a lot of women are, and he was talking about that, and I'm like, but I told him, if you are a girl that's 5'7" and above, though, I'm 5'5", like, you need a tall man. I'm sorry, but you do. Like, because if I have girlfriends that are literally Amazon tall, and I'm like, yeah, they're going to need a tall man, because otherwise they're going to feel very masculine, and it's kind of icky. So sorry, men, like if you're trying to date a girl that's 5'9" and above, like she's going to prefer you to at least be 6 feet tall. So just say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went on a whole little spiel on that, but I would love to know your thoughts on height and money. Do they matter to you? And if so, what?
Yes, 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 and yes. First off, on the height thing, I'm 5'3", so it's not really hard to find somebody that's taller than me, but it's also, I know it's like what you're attracted to. Like for men listening going, oh my God, shut up. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Shut up. Shut up. If you don't like this episode, turn it off. Shut up. Because everyone's attracted to something. And I'm just one of those, if I want to kiss you barefoot or if I want to kiss you in wedges, like my neck better crane to where I have to call my massage therapist in a week and be like, hey, I'm like climbing this really tall tree, lip locking, and my neck hurts. So can I pay an extra $30 for 30 more minutes? Like that's what I'm attracted to. But with the height, I'm going to say this to the men that are still sticking this out with us. Do not lie about your height. Don't do it. Because you can sit there and say, I'm 5'10". Nah, homie. Because my mom's 5'7", 5'8". So if my mom's standing next to you and you got like a little hairline. No. Do not lie about your height. That's like us as women. I feel like men, I get it. Like you're uncomfortable or whatever and you're insecure about it. Kind of like women, we're going to be insecure about our weight. We all have insecurities. Don't lie about your height because we are going to figure out. It's just like lying about other package appendages. Got to find out. It's not that hard. Do not make me bring a measuring tape onto some dates, y'all, okay? Because if we need to, we can. Money, this is hard for me. I have dated a musician that didn't have 2 quarters to rub together, and that was my twin flame. It's the only person I've ever felt that with. But also where I was at in my age was very much like, oh, this is great. I'm dating a musician. I'm traveling around the United States, and we're like making love in hotel rooms. This is like such a fantasy. And then I go back to my day job where I'm like all professional. Now in my 30s, I will say, do you need to be a millionaire? No. But I think my way of describing is I want a partner. I do not want a project. There is a difference. Do I mind picking up a tab here and there? No, I love that. I like beating somebody to the punch on occasion. Do I want to be your mom? No, sir. Like, I don't want you coming over and I'm cooking and I'm paying for this and I'm planning this vacation. I don't want to do that. I do not want a partner. I don't want to be a parent. And I don't want a project. I just want somebody who is compatible. But I'm also different because I'm 39 and I don't want children.
Yeah. You bring up a point. It's like you heard it here first, men. Well, maybe not first, but it's like at the end of the day, if you are dating a woman over a certain age, not in their 20s anymore, they just don't want a project. They're not looking for a millionaire. They want an equal. Like women have no problem occasionally paying for a meal nowadays. or coffee or whatever, or getting you gifts. But it's like, yeah, if you feel like the person's work on top of everything that you have to deal with on your own and yourself, no. Women don't need that extra work, and neither do you men. Men, if you're dating a woman and she feels like a bunch of work all the time, get out. Be single. Like, there's other women. Like, and I'm sorry, women, for saying this, but it's like nobody needs a project after a certain age. Like, I get it when you're in your 20s. Yeah, traveling, and I dated quite a few, had the hotel sex, all of that. But it's like eventually you get to a certain...
hotel sex good? Isn't it good?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's good. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know. I love it. Even when I met my ex 2 years ago, and I we were, sorry, God, I hope my mom does not listen to these. I remember
Mom,
he was like on a work job, and it was just like something about just, I don't know, hotel sex or something about it. Guys, if you're in a relationship and your relationship is like not doing it, get a hotel. Go get a freaking hotel. February 14th, I better see every hotel in the United States booked, because hotel sex is where it's at.
Book that hotel. I went to with the twin flame. We're talking about twin flames. They're coming up. So, hey, I'm not going to say his name. If you're listening to this, Silver Fox, that's who he was. Like, that was so exciting. Like, we were dating during COVID, and like we'd go to hotels, and that was some of the best sex we would have. Or if it was like adventurous, like outside on a table. Men, get creative. The biggest issue I have had, we're going into this tangent back to sex, but the biggest issue I've had with men is they will get so boring with sex. They will keep just going to their master bedroom and just wanting to have sex there. And like, I had this one guy who was a musician. He was older, the last ex, and he just kept wanting to do the same kind of sex in his bedroom. And he was like, wow, you really want to have sex? Women do. Women are adventurous with sex. Believe it or not, we are sexual human beings as well. There's this misconception that men only think about sex. No, women, we want to have sex everywhere almost and do everything. I mean, there's some women, can't speak for all, that like have limitations, and that's fine. But like, if I'm into you, like, I want that hotel sex. I want that sex on the kitchen counter. I want that sex in the pantry. I've done that. That was weird. But like, yeah, it was weird. He had 2 kids. So, we had to hide some.
Were you checking expiration dates on fruit snacks? Sex in the pantry?
Oh, yeah. This twin flame, we had sex in a lot of weird places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel what you're putting down.
Yeah. But it's like that. Give a woman unforgettable sex and you will get whatever you want, man. Just saying. You will get whatever you want. She'll put up with your shit a little bit longer.
Okay, I got to ask, because now like we just went, this is why I love non-scripted stuff. Like, we kind of like plan little tidbits, but it just goes in the direction, which I love for these podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're having you're in a relationship, okay, and you're having like boring sex, I'm talking basic boring sex. Do you still go with it? Just like if you're in mid-session because you know it's just going to continue? Or do you just like not care to have sex anymore? Do you tell him?
I try to find ways to navigate it to like get more adventurous. I test the waters, but I'll try and do it as subtle as possible. But would I stay in a relationship like that? No, I'd probably eventually slowly but surely like burn out. But and I'm one of those people, like, I'll fight till the bitter end. But like, yeah, that would eventually just burn me out. I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. But yeah, I would find ways. Like, I've tried to be like sneak lingerie or like, hey, sex toy, or like, hey, let's go on a staycation to Laguna or something, like, let's get weird,
Yeah.
So I try, like, I always try to feel, and men, you too, like, if you're trying to figure a woman out, there is a way, like, to do it, to be like, hey, I'm kind of really interested in something like this. What do you think about it? Like, men communicate, because that is a major thing when talking about dating and relationships is communication issues, which I have somewhere on my notes up there, but yeah.
Can you imagine? You got 2 women doing a podcast, and what's the word that always seems to come up? Communication. Boom. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We're a therapist now. Communicate. I could probably be better at communicating because I just shut off, but I don't know. I'm like a dude. Like, if you get me to the point where like, your sex is boring, bro, and I've tried things and I suggest things and you're still like, I'll do that shit myself and I don't need you, which brings me into the big topic of, I'm not even calling it self-love. I'm talking, we as women are badasses. I think we have put up with enough shit in our life with like family life, trauma, dealing with work, dealing with a career, having the pressure to have a baby. Why don't you want to have a baby? Getting married, getting divorced. If you throw all that stuff in, when you look at a household, like for marriage and divorce, let's say with family with kids, it's always the woman that gets blamed, right? Of like, you left, you quit on your family, you quit your spouse. When there's a breakup in a relationship, women are blamed. When there's like no sex happening in a relationship, the women are like, it's always the woman at the end of the day. And so it brings me to this spot that women were tired. We just want to have some kinky hotel sex. We can buy our own flowers. I hate these women. They're like, oh, I want a man that buys me flowers. Go buy your own flowers. You're going to the grocery store once a week, buy your own flowers. Are they pretty? Yes. But we want communication and we want effort. And I think we're in this spot. I don't know. Maybe it's just ages or whatever we've been through. I think that we're choosing, which is scary because we're seeing the birth rate go down and we're seeing the marriage rate go down and we're seeing people who don't believe in marriage anymore. We see people who don't want children or having children older is because we just feel like we can do it by ourselves. Why waste your time when, unless you're adding something to my plate, like, no, I'm not interested. I'll eat alone. I'm scared for future generations because I feel like women watching social media, it's like everything I see, like women empowerment, self-love, women empowerment. But it kind of scares me because I don't really know if there's like a spot, a little groove for a man to fit into that with our attitudes. I'm sorry, man, I'm sticking up for you. Okay.
We're coming back to bat for you guys. We're coming back.
We're coming back. You're still in the ballpark. You still have a chance to win this. But I don't feel whether it's like feminine energy flipping because, yeah, I think we are getting pretty masculine. I don't honestly know if there's a place for men to fit.
That's tough. I mean, I am all for women empowerment. Absolutely. Like, just want that to be known. And I am a very stubborn, strong woman. You can ask my family, you can ask anybody who knows me. But would I become very soft and feminine around the right guy? Yes. Like as much as many people think I am so like stubborn and, bullheaded and like whatever you want to say, because some people get that impression, but that's only if you let me. I am one of those people. If you let me dominate you, I will. And I will come off super masculine.
Everyone's rushing to their phone right now to download every dating app just to find Lauren's face on there. Like, she's going to dominate me. I got to find what app she was talking about.
I mean, yeah, if you want to dominate tricks, hey, Mom, turn this off. But I will say the whole women empowerment movement has been great in ways, but it has been tricky. And I do think that men are feeling pushed out. And I have guy friends, and I'm sorry, men, that's happened. I think it's only happened in default, though, because women have gotten so frustrated, like going back full circle of like talking about having sex for them. Women weren't having sex before for themselves. Women were putting up with a lot more, a lot of sexual harassment, a lot of horrible things, myself included. And I think it kind of put men as a bad taste in our mouths for a while. But we are now realizing that maybe it was a little too much. We got to still let men in to a certain level. Not all men are horrible. And this is coming from a girl who's had a lot of trauma from men, okay? So, yeah. And I do feel like you mentioned social media for a second. Social media, I've always loved it. I was a chick on MySpace. I was this little scene queen back in the day. People would even be like, Lauren Taylor on the streets of Atlanta. And I was like, what? All because I did these club nights and stuff. And what's funny is it never affected dating before. I've actually met quite a few dudes and friends and people off MySpace and stuff back in the day, and even Instagram in its early days. But now it's gotten to this point where people are getting overwhelmed, overstimulated, and just like you said, tired. So I don't know, I'm going off in a different tangent here, but it's just I wanted to kind of come to bat for social media as it used to work for dating. I used to meet people, and now it's there's too many options because now there's also the dating apps. So that's also the issue is there wasn't really, the dating apps weren't as prevalent when Instagram and MySpace, when Instagram first started, MySpace was around. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people were like, oh, it's social media. No, I used to fucking meet a lot of dudes on social media and I had no problem and girlfriends. But no, I think it's the social media with the dating apps with this also misconception of what men want. So men, I would love for you to step in and say your thoughts on this, but I've noticed some of you have actually said this to me, where here we are, women talking about what we want all the time, what we like, you know, whether they want money or whether they want height or whether they want good sex. I have noticed men have the hardest time saying what they want. So in the end, yes, there's women like having this women empowerment stuff, but like I've straight up asked men, what do you want? They can never straight up tell me. They can never answer that with a straight question. And then I've also noticed they say they want one thing and then want another. I get on social media, I see these men dating these girls that are overly done up, big boobs, like, you know, all the filler and Botox, which don't get me wrong, I've done a few myself sometimes, like, you know, in the past, but like I've never overdone it. I've always tried to keep it very, very natural, but it's like, yeah, they say they want this natural take home to mom, but I'm literally seeing guys dating girls from OnlyFans. So have you ever noticed that? Have you seen guys be like, oh, I want this, but they end up dating this? That's an issue I'm seeing with social media and like dating now.
Yeah, but I feel like it's going backwards. I mean, I feel like they want somebody to take home to mom, but I think obviously social media kind of played a part in that. I think the porn industry played a massive part into having women look different, and then like commercials and, you know, branding and stuff. It made women look different. But I think it's interesting that you talk about social media, because it's like we went from social media was like to just show aspects of our life, and then we still had like a personal private life, versus now like everything. I mean, we're sharing. I'm guilty. I mean, I'll look back on stories and be like, why in the fuck did I think I needed to share like some bubble bath? Nobody cares. Why did I even post that? Do I still do it? Yeah. But I think it's now, there's nothing private. Everything and every aspect of our life is shown in public.
True.
But you all on social media, but then you also have the dating apps that are trying to go parallel and like merge with that. Because I'm going to be the first one to admit this. Oh, love of God. Like even just thinking it in my brain, I get the ick on myself. My last 4 relationships I have met on TikTok. If that doesn't show you that parallel line of social media and dating apps, like that became the thing. Like, this is not dating talk, but like my current relationship, we met on social media. And it's funny because like I would go into his lives on occasion and like I would see him and I'm like, God, like I was not attracted to the level of his platform, because there's women in there like being nasty, and he was entertaining, but not in like it was like a flirtatious way. But then like all of my relationships, looking at it, like I have not planned on meeting them, but I've allowed that to kind of like be the way that I'm like mingling, because I've done the dating apps before. Disaster. I'm never going to meet somebody in the line at the grocery store because I have resting bitch face and I just like, I'm clueless, and I go in, get my shit and get out. But it's interesting that you're talking about social media, because I know a lot of like my friends have been using like TikTok or Instagram, because now it's a thing, right? If you see somebody somewhere, you're on a live, what do? You slide into the DM. But I don't think that we're really looking at it of like, hey, if I make this move, I'm showing interest. What could this turn into? I'm the first one to be like, well, shit. It went from like, hey, how's it going, to like, we're in it. Like, we're in it to win it. Not saying this current one, but like in the past, I mean, I had that with somebody. We dated 2.5 years. Was I happy for 2.5 years? No. Was it toxic? Yes. But that's also because, and I'm throwing this out there, is because nothing is private, and social media and dating apps become one. So when you start meeting somebody on these apps, such as like TikTok, Instagram, and you're making that relationship public, it also becomes part of your social persona, that you feel you have to keep this relationship going, because now everybody's dating that person with you. Your relationship is public. You have to keep it going, versus I met this person in private on a dating app. We went to dinner, and like people don't know if it doesn't work out because they don't know you're on a dating app. So I think it's this weird, unhealthy aspect of social media, because I honestly think it's making a lot of relationships last way past what they should. It's propelling relationships to go faster and move faster. Like current relationship, on a first date, would you have somebody come to your apartment and spend a weekend as a first date?
No, not anymore,
Exactly.
but I have in the past.
Right. So for me, they live in a different state. Usually it's not like stay at a hotel, so they come and spend 3 days with you. A first date for me is not, hey, let me make space in my closet. Do you want a couple of hangers? And like, it's awkward. So I think it's creating social media merge and dating apps and like projecting this relationship on a fast track. And I think that's also a recipe for disaster. But do we still use that now as a dating form? 100%.
I mean, I would rather meet somebody off social media than on a dating app. The reason is because at least you can see them for who they really are on social media, for the most part, or what they portray, mind you.
There you go.
Yeah, or what they're portraying, so you get a little bit more of a gauge, because I'm not going to lie, like these dating app profiles, a lot of them are horrible. People just put dumb shit, or they don't even put anything on the profile at all. Like I've literally scrolled through and there's like maybe one line of something and it's just pictures. So at least with social media, whether it's how they're portraying themselves or not, you get a little bit more of a gauge. And I mean, most women were a little bit of detectives too. We can find shit if we want to find shit. Like, just saying, like, it's not always the best thing, but you know, you can deep dive. There is such things. And I'm not going to give the secrets away, but men, if you put 2 and 2 together, you can figure out how we're doing it. But like,
slide into those DMs. I'll give you the ninja secrets.
Yeah, seriously, men, if you want to know, I'll tell you privately. But yeah, I'm not going to tell the world. But there's ways that us women can be like, that's an ex-girlfriend. Okay, see how that relationship looked, how that feels. You know, like, and then, you know, it's not just what they're showing. I'm giving already a big hint, you know, but women will figure that out. But I would much rather a guy slide into my DMs. I'm sorry?
We see, we watch, we listen.
Exactly.
That's why I made that video the other day. I'm not like standoffish. I'm taking notes. We're always taking notes.
We pay attention. It's just like that thing where you mentioned like women leaving. Women don't usually leave right away. We usually try to give you like 3 strikes. We're paying attention. We're getting and if a woman gets silent, that's a huge thing. If she starts getting quiet and she's not saying shit anymore, she's already slowly out the door, guys. So just letting you know, I've always warned a guy, oh, why do you keep complaining about this? Why do you keep complaining about that? And I'm like, be scared when I stop. Like, if I stop saying something bothers me, then be like, I'm already 1 foot out the door. Just saying.
The short responses. How was your day? It was good.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. That's a bad sign, guys. If she's being short with you, bad.
Yep. Well, I wanted to do this episode for February because, like, we talked about some fun things and social media. And I know there's a lot of women listening like, man, I had a relationship on TikTok that, it lasted too long. Or I never should have slid into that DM. Or I love watching porn and I'm a woman. Guess what? That's okay. So we're coming up on February 14th. And I want to have everybody obviously listen to this episode the very first Saturday of February. I feel like there's a lot of pressure for women too, because I don't know if you're the same. It's like roadkill, you know, it's there and you just have to look at it. I know that February 14th is a date that like we get bummed out, right? And it does kind of suck. Do we want to see all of the things that your man got you? I don't give a fuck. Keep it off social media, but we still look and then we like get mad at ourselves. So for those singles, what are you going to tell them on February 14th? What are we doing on February 14th if you're single? What should we do?
Buy yourself them damn flowers and chocolates. Give yourself a sexy bath. Throw some rose petals in that shit. Romanticize yourself. That is my biggest thing is like, I've learned of being single for a little while now, longer than I would have like expected or chosen 100%. But again, picky myself. I romanticize my own life. Like I'm buying that fucking chocolate. I'm buying that, you know, flowers. I'm taking myself to a nice dinner. Or, you know, if you have a really close girlfriend, take your girlfriend. You know, you mentioned a love with your girlfriends. I have the best like community of women now in my life that I'm like, I have so much love for the women in my life. I'd take them out, you know, be like, let's romanticize each other. Like, it's kind of funny, but not in a lesbian way.
No hotel sex
but if you
with
are,
the ladies. Nope.
No hold back on that. You know, if you want to get a little romantical with your best friend, do it. You only live once. So.
Well, I'm really stoked on this episode. I hope some of you guys got something really fun out of it, but I wanted to do it because I think there's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves as women for Valentine's Day. It's a day, but I also think we put a lot of pressure on men. So if you're in a relationship, like, You don't have to drop the hints. Men, they know. And I think that comes full circle of like, if he wanted to, he would. Don't be going in there and be like, well, I want this and I want that. Don't forget, like, as a woman, it's not just your day. And yeah, I'm coming in hot again for the men. Women, this is not just your day. Take care of your man too. Like, they may not communicate, like Lauren said, they're not good. Y'all are not good. But they're not going to communicate what they want. Pay attention. Learn the love languages of your partner. If they love, little tiny notes or something, or make them a dinner, cook them dinner and something sexy. And it doesn't always have to lead to sex either. I think that's something where you could take care of your man and take care of your partner and read the room and read that bond between you two, but do something for your man. Cook dinner, take him to a restaurant, or just go grab a coffee. And some of y'all need to just learn how to talk. Sit and have a conversation with your partner and be like, hey, I want to tell you this. I think the one thing that women, if you're in a relationship, you can do for a man is tell them what you notice that they're changing or doing different, or you're proud of them. Because men, I'm telling you guys don't get told enough, like, hey, I love this about you. Hey, I'm proud of you. Because most often these men grew up they're kind of in our generation. They grew up not having that proud, I was never told I love you. I was never told I was proud of you. We didn't get that in our generation. So as a woman, you're not a parent. You are a partner coming and saying, hey, I love this about you. Hey, you did this. I'm so proud of you. Hey, this meant so much to me. A little bit of communication on a woman's side point, I think, is going to go really far with a man. And I think that's what we're missing too.
Oh, absolutely. And I've had to call some girlfriends out sometimes, like, say it, like, communicate too. He's not a mind reader. Like, as much as men are not the best at communicating either, they're not mind readers. And I'm not you're not trying to mind read what they're doing. So yeah, it takes two to tango for sure.
Yep. Well, February 14th is coming up. If you're tangoing by yourself, that's okay, because guess what? There's nothing better than taking care of yourself. You're evolving. You're getting yourself ready for the next person. If the next person comes in a day, a year, a month, whatever, they come when they're supposed to. But if you're in a relationship, tango with your partner and learn your partner, because I can guarantee you there's so much. We have a lifetime with somebody. You're never going to learn everything in a moment. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Give your partner some grace. It's just a day. I encourage you guys for the entire year of 2025, take a day out of the month and really focus on your relationship, whether you're in one with somebody or in one with yourself. I think that's crucial. Take time for yourself and buy the damn chocolates, buy the flowers, buy the bubble bath, post the bubble bath picture, and just be sexy. I mean, I think we're in this just awesome, awesome time where men, be a man. We just want you to grab on and throw us up against the wall. And women, your sexy self. It doesn't matter if you feel raunchy or not. Just do it.
Thanks for tuning in to this month's episode of Spicy Saturday Women Unfiltered. We hope you enjoyed our unfiltered take on today's topic.
Set those date reminders on the first Saturday of every month to catch our most candid conversations about the highs, lows, and everything in between.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the spice with your friends. Stay unfiltered, stay fabulous, and we'll catch you all bold bitches on our next episode.